We're here in the beautiful Malta and we meet interesting people like Brock Pierce from Block One. How are you doing, Brock?
I'm good. I'm good.
All right. You just did a talk here about actually decentralized economy and the whole concept around that. Perhaps you can. What is it actually? What are we going to this decentralized economy?
Yeah, well, I talked a little bit about, call it the state of the union or the state of the chain. We'll skip over that. But I focused on sort of the predictions of what's to happen, call it over the next 12 months. What do we have in store for the remainder of the year? One, for all the Game of Thrones fans out there, winter is over, spring is here, and summer is coming. Groundhogs everywhere, lots of reasons why. Most importantly is Cambridge Associates. Cambridge Associates is the organization that is the closest thing to the Word of God, to the largest institutions in the world, to the pensions, to the endowments, to the insurance companies. What they say, everyone does. About $300 billion of capital is likely to come into the industry as a result of their recommendation. Go look that up. Not Cambridge Analytics, Cambridge Associates, an organization only GPs that run funds would know of. But that is a big part of what's driving Bitcoin to 8,000, amongst other things, but Cambridge Associates. What I'm most excited about for the remainder of the year is games, non-fungible tokens. About half of the money that's been deployed out of EOS VC so far has gone into game investments. For those of us that are fans of Ready Player One, we are gamifying the planet, augmented reality. You're going to be digging up millions of dollars of Bitcoin and EOS and treasure all over the planets in the days, weeks, months to come. All sorts of gaming stuff that's happening.
You can grab the tokens out of the air.
Yes, June is coming. Watch the EOS announcement June 1st. Not going to say anything. It's a week away. I would be tuning into that.
All right.
Whatever blockchain, I'm chain agnostic. I believe that, this chain is not better than that chain. We are all here to experiment and hopefully make the world a better place. Maximalism of any chain is the equivalent of religious fundamentalism. Let's all support each other. We're here to change the world, make it a better place. So we can agree to disagree on the right approach. Let's try it all. But other big things, social, own your own data, own your own data, own your own data. Let's take back our digital DNA. Take back your digital DNA and let's build a world of consent where our data is not bought, sold, traded without our consent.
Right.
Let's go back to that. Provably secure messaging systems. Download Sense Chat. If you haven't played with it, we now have on-chain messaging. Provably secure messaging. All sorts of awesome stuff happening.
Cool, sounds good. I mean, let's start with the market. Bitcoin through $8,000. So you think this is institutional money? That's the explanation of this rise?
In part. There's money on the sidelines too. Obviously, lots of people saw crypto winter coming, which was very much needed. As I like to say, bull markets produce bullshit, bear markets bear fruit. Every time we have a bull market like the 2017 one, it attracts all the cockroaches, it attracts all the riffraff, all the bad actors that are here for the wrong reasons, solely focused on making money, and we got to wash those people out. We need to purge and cleanse the industry every now and then. 2018 was very much needed. People saw that. They took their money, pulled it to the sidelines. That capital is back, and we'll see what happens. There might be always,
There's still some manipulation going on. I mean, we've seen this flash crash on Bitstamp last week.
Yeah, we have. The bad guys are here. Wall Street is in the business.
Oh, you think it's a Wall Street?
It's mostly hedge funds from Wall Street. It's the traditional Wall Street types that drive most of the manipulation, as they do everywhere.
And they just want to test the market, or?
Yeah, well, no, they view this as an unregulated market where they can do all the things they can't do legally elsewhere. Most of the really bad actors are traditional Wall Street people.
So you don't think it's like a manipulation by exchanges like BitMEX or whales, like anonymous whales?
Well, those whales typically are guys that run hedge funds in their day jobs.
Okay.
Yes, they use the platforms and the exchanges, but yes, if you want to go find those people, go look in the big office buildings in Manhattan.
All right. So if we look at the market, what do you expect for this year? I mean, will we have? It seems a more healthy bull run than 2017. What was more of a bubble, I think.
Well, I mean, we're going through these continual cycles, and we're into the next one, bigger and better.
What do you think for this year?
Foundation. Well, I mean, again, there's all sorts of things that can happen. Positive things, negative things. I'm very bullish. I think that the remainder of 2019, call it spring, and 2020, I think is going to be a phenomenal year, and then we probably go through another correction again, because every time we go through a strong bull market, the industry gets polluted with bad actors.
So do you think the halvening of the Bitcoin network will have an effect?
It historically has every time, so I suspect it will again.
All right.
If what you care about is the price of Bitcoin.
And if we look at Bitcoin or other coins, do we actually going to use them as currency, or will it become more of a store of value?
Well, Bitcoin right now is essentially gold 2.0. It is the sort of store of value. The Moneros, the Zcashes, the Dashes are also trying to be kind of that store of value with more, call it, anonymity. I don't really see the other tokens as that, though. Ethereum definitely was that through the ICO craze, because that was the currency you needed to be able to access deals, and so it became a currency in that respect. When the ICO market dissipated, so did the price of Ethereum.
What do you think of the future of Ethereum?
I'm a huge supporter of Ethereum. I am always rooting for Ethereum. They are the victim of their own success because they were the driver of, call it, blockchain 2.0, and they are going through their growing pains as they have to scale up to blockchain 3.0 or Ethereum 2.0. I am rooting for them, here to do everything I can to help them, but they've got to solve that, which they're doing. They understand what's needed, but it's really hard to change your engines in mid-flight. That's the problem, is they're the victim of their own success. And so it's not simple.
That was the advantage of EOS.
Well, we all need to be rooting for Ethereum. What's good for EOS, bad for Ethereum is bad for all of us. In the same way, what's bad for Bitcoin affects all of us. What's bad for Ethereum is bad for all of us. We are here to support each other. We are here to lift each other up. So go Ethereum.
If we look at the DApp market, the DApp radar, for instance, you see EOS and also Tron are pretty dominant in this space. Is that the way to go?
Well, they're dominant in terms of usage, and that's because they're the first blockchains that are highly scalable, low latency, with no friction. You have no fees. So if you want to build Facebook on a blockchain, the only things that you could build it on today are things like EOS or Tron. You couldn't build a messaging system on Ethereum. You couldn't build a social network on Ethereum today. You can only do high-value financial transactions because of the cost. The gas fees make it impossible to do, call it, games. You would never build a game except for maybe a high-value game. Gambling games only. You wouldn't build traditional applications on Ethereum yet because of the friction and the speed.
How do you see the future of EOS, for instance? What will be in the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, that's what EOS is good for, is building traditional dApps. Think of EOS as the dApp store. Think of EOS as, when the Apple iPhone came out or Facebook came out, this is where you're going to be building all of these applications that are going to connect users with decentralized apps that don't necessarily need to be high-value applications. They don't need to be financial applications. You can now do highly scalable dApps, things like social, things like messaging, things like gaming, and others on that. But EOS isn't the only thing. There's going to be many, call it, third-generation blockchains, and I support all of them. I believe that everyone should be chain agnostic. It's too early to be committing yourself to a single religion. We should, understand that these collections of chains are all split tests or A/B tests for building a better future, and every one of us should keep an open mind. The future is not yet written, and it's still very, very early. Do not commit yourself to anything. Maximalism is the equivalent of religious fundamentalism. If anything, I'm a Bitcoin maximalist, though I believe in, the future is not yet written. Let's make it a better place. However that happens, hallelujah.
How do you see the future? How do you see the future of decentralized finance, etc.?
How do I see it? I see it as a democratized one, where every human being on the planet is going to have equal access, and the billions of people on the planet that are stuck living in a world of poverty because they don't have the basic fundamental rights, which is an internet connection and financial services today, those people are going to have it thanks to us.
And you mentioned actually Facebook Coin. There are some rumors they're working together with Zilliqa, for instance. Actually, they need lots of TPS to put all these transactions on the. What do you think? Are you in talks with Facebook or?
I can't comment.
You can't deny it either, or?
Well, I mean, you can look up a company called 5 Delta. So I founded a company back in the day with Fred Krueger. 5 Delta was one of Facebook's preferred marketing partners. And so going back to the old days, I've had obviously a close relationship. And if you look at my first wedding, you'll see one of the heads of Facebook is a groomsman.
All right.
I think the person responsible for this stuff.
So we can expect some news this year, actually, or?
Yeah, I would be paying attention, and obviously Facebook doing stuff in this space is, I think, very good for everyone. I also say the same thing about JP Morgan. It's all validating. It's all good. We want the old world adopting these systems. We want the old and the new to win together.
Yeah.
We're trying to evolve. We're trying to have an evolutionary event, not a revolutionary event, and that requires the old and the new coming together to build a better future together, to build win-win scenarios. And yes, thank you, Facebook. Thank you, JP Morgan, for choosing to recognize and acknowledge that this industry is doing world-changing stuff. Thank you for validating the work that we're doing, and together we can build a better future.
Yeah, we now have a very peak attention time, like peak attention with social media, peak attention. Do you expect as this new movement will actually accelerate, will be more accelerated than the internet days, or?
Yes, the world is moving a lot faster. It used to take a very long time for things to reach 1 million users, 10 million users, 100 million users, 1 billion users. That's now happening very rapidly. So the world can change in a matter of a few short years. I think that we're going to see sometime over the next 5 years the first application going from 0 to 1 billion users in under a year. So yes, the world can change on a dime.
It's a revolution.
Evolution. Or lowercase r if it's going to be,
All right.
Remember, revolutions are often violent. So let's try to keep the r out of it as much as possible.
All right. 2 questions. You bought a house in Amsterdam. Why Amsterdam?
I love places that are rich in history. And so Amsterdam is one of my, I have a house in Spain as well. I've lived in Europe for a lot of my life. And this one in particular was just interesting. It's an illegal Catholic church built in 1746 when the Protestants pushed out the Spanish. And the front door of the church is very interesting. It's God handing down a coin to man. That's the entrance to my house.
Right. So we will be seeing you in the coffee shops, and we can show you around.
I mean, I wish I was going to be there. I'll probably be in Amsterdam a total of a week or 2 a year, and my friends are going to love the wonderful new house I have. It's like most of the things that I buy. I get these things thinking that I'm going to be the beneficiary, but no, my friends and everybody else ends up being the main beneficiaries. I go off to go.
And you got a lot of friends.
Yes, I have lots of friends. I'm very blessed in that regard.
Last question, what do you pick in the market right now? I mean, we put EOS aside. What are your top 3 coins?
If you're a newbie, stick to Bitcoin and things in the top 10. Don't touch anything else. If you've been in this space, there's the same thing that happened in the year 2000 and 2001 when the internet bubble burst, is the baby was thrown out with the bathwater. There are good projects where the token is trading in the gutter, and I would be sifting through those. There are good projects, good teams that still have lots of potential, and I'd go find those diamonds in the rough. I don't want to tell you what to go buy. I'm not in the business of doing that.
Maybe one name?
Again, I don't give people investment advice. But I go look at applications. Go look at what's out there, at a high level.
Do you focus on protocol layers like, Definity or Polkadot or?
Yeah, Gavin Wood was a groomsman in my wedding. I led the investment into Parity in the early days. Gavin, I hosted Polkadot's launch event in Ibiza.
Oh, okay.
So obviously very close to all of these projects.
Right.
I follow protocols, I follow dApps, I try to follow everything. And fortunately, the industry has gotten so big and it's doing so many wonderful things that I can't keep tabs on everything, which is a good sign.
Okay. Thank you very much, Brock, for your time. All the best with all the things you do, and love to meet you.
Enjoy your time in Malta.
Yes.